What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Riff Revival. So a lot of you have been asking about Axure and its capabilities of doing deathcore music. I don't really dabble in deathcore, but I have a friend that does. I reached out to my buddy Chris Wiseman. You may know him. He's in a band called Shadow of Intent and another band called Currents. And his band, Shadow of Intent, just released a song called Infinity of Horrors. And it's pretty sick. You should go check it out. But I reached out to him because I'm not even going to attempt to play that. It's really difficult. I think I probably could play it, but I would need more time than 1 week to learn it. So I reached out to see if he had guitar tabs. If I recreated the song with Axure, I wanted it to be accurate, exactly how he played it. And he said that he was actually filming the video for it and going to be releasing tabs later. But he did provide me with the stems for the song. So in today's video, we're going to look at Shadow of Intent's Infinity of Horrors, and I rewrote the song all in MIDI. So I redid the drums, the bass, the guitars. The only thing that I'm using from his stems are the production track with all the effects. I still used my own bass. I just used his bass track for the high-end grit, and that's pretty much it. Everything else I recreated with MIDI instruments, good drums, Grove bass, and Axure MIDI guitar. We're gonna take a look at the mix today and show you how close I got to the original. Now, let me just put this out there. The original is sick. I think it was engineered by Erra, which, if you don't know who that is, he's a legend. I'm not even gonna attempt to try to make the mix sound better than he did because it's perfect the way it is. But, you know, I have fun with these MIDI things, and we're gonna check out how good we can get it to sound with MIDI. Also, today is a special episode because this is my 20th episode on YouTube. And I decided to do something a little special, so I'm going to be holding a contest where you can win a $100 Sweetwater gift card. Stick around to the end of the video and I'll let you know more details about the contest. All right, so let's go ahead and hop in. Okay, so first off, we're going to listen to the section of the song that we're going to do. This is the original track. I'm not doing a cover of the complete song. I'm just doing like the last section where the solo is, because that was the most interesting part to me, the most technical. So here we have a prime example of some modern day deathcore, and it's sick. Okay, that's pretty much the section that we're going to be recreating today. I've known Chris for a long time. It was really cool of him to provide the stems for today's video. So shout out to Chris. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Unfortunately, I cannot give you guys these stems. So if you're wondering about that, I can't do that. But I will give you the MIDI. So there will be a link in the description below where you can grab the MIDI that I programmed for this track. I've already done everything, but let's just go through what we did. These stems are pretty sick. We have the bass stem. I did mention earlier that we're going to do bass. All I did with the bass was I put a high pass filter around 400 hertz. Here's what the original sound like. Really good stems. I didn't want that low end because I used my own MIDI bass. I used the high grit because I really like the clankiness of this bass. Nothing's wrong with the low end for this one. I could have easily just used this track, but just to keep it fully programmed, I just grabbed the high end from that. And then we have the vocal stem. Oof, good. But the vocalist of Shadow of Intent is sick. Dude can hit the lows, the highs, he can do it all, man. And they sound so good. Woo. Absolutely nasty, man. Dude is a master of his craft there, as you can see. And then we have the synth and production effects. your pretty standard production stuff, you know, synth choirs and all that sorts of cool stuff. And then we have the drums, which I didn't use the drums, but the drums sound good. Great sounding kit, but I didn't want to use the drums from their track just because, like I said again, I want to recreate this whole thing with MIDI, mostly my own sounds. That's all that I'm using for the stems. I'll let you hear what it sounds like real quick with what I did. So what I did is I went ahead and reprogrammed all the guitars. So the rhythm guitars, the lead guitar, and then I reamped it with the Quad Cortex as usual. So this is my version of the song with Axure, my bass, my drums, and then those few stems that I mentioned earlier. Such a sick track. All right, so we're gonna take a listen to the rhythm guitars by itself. Sweet. So I think that turned out pretty sick. I want to show you how I did the leads because I think that's the most important. The rhythms are pretty easy to program. Right now, there's no tone on it. It's just the DI from Axure. There's a lot going on in this lead MIDI. As you can see, there's some pitch bending and there's a lot of key switching going on. And it's because I used Axure's 4-string feature. This is where I recommend that you do 4 strings. Now, if you're doing riffs are generally going to live like in the lower strings. So you don't really have to worry too much about doing 4 strings for the lower strings. But when you get into all the intricate stuff, you're definitely going to want to do 4 strings. I'm utilizing a lot of the velocity layers, like I said in my earlier videos. So the best thing to do with this, we're going to solo the original lead stem with it. So this is how I tabbed it out. I didn't learn how to play the solo at all. I just went note by note and programmed it. So as you can see, there's a sweep there. What I'm trying to do here is more like a slide situation, not a sweep. Now, if it was a sweep, it would sound spot on, but it's more of like a note up slide. And sometimes the Axure slides may be a little too fast or a little too slow for you. So if in that case, you don't get like the perfect slide length, you can do this. You just program some notes and make sure to skip a note and go to the next one. I program a note, skip a note, then program the next note, skip a note, program the next note, and then I go to my desired note. I don't go all the way up because I only have 3 bar lines right here, 3 spaces to go up. So I'm going to use the tap key switch for these notes, and it's going to affect these 3 notes right here. And that's what this sounds like. And as you can hear, it gives you that slide up kind of sound. And that's what we're going for. Now, if I wanted it to be a sweep, I would just leave it as a sustain alt pick or sustain downstroke, whatever you want it to be, because it has the pick attack built into the sample. And you're going to get that sort of sweep pick attack sort of noise. Okay, so this is interesting. I've never programmed or played a guitar part that had like this sort of harmony in it. It's octave harmonies. You would find these sort of harmonies more in like deathcore music, so that kind of explains it. I'm not sure what they did in the original track. They might have had 2 leads, so one was playing the bottom octave and one was playing the top octave. I just went ahead and added them to the guitar part as one guitar. So this is like a sweep picking thing. There's a lot of key switching going on here. And the reason why is because there's a slide motion happening after he goes up to the next arpeggio. So in order to get that sort of effect, I'm adding a left-hand slide right here on these 3 sections where he goes up and up and up. You'll hear it in the actual track if you listen again. Right before the slide, I'm giving you a slide up fast articulation down here on MIDI note 9, A-2. For this particular note, it seemed to have had the right timing as far as the slide goes, so I went ahead and used that one. So we're sliding up, and then we have the slide sound, and then we go to sustain alt pick. And that happens at each interval in between each arpeggio. And it gives it that sort of sliding up. And that's how you achieve that. Okay, so we have a bend here for this one. And I'm using 4 strings as well. This is going to be on the 2nd string. You can see that bend information right here. One of my favorite parts, the sweep. I just kind of modeled it after the original. During that sweep, he has sort of like this pick scrapey sound, like in the beginning before each sweep, to kind of give you that sort of illusion that there's sort of some pick scraping going on. So I'm using the dead note articulations right before the sweep. The sweep happens right here, and the dead notes are right before, so it gives you that sort of scraping. I'm using 4 strings for that, so you can see the 4 string information right here, going from the top string all the way down to the bottom string, and ending on the high note. And then after each sweep, I have a release noise. And that just keeps it as realistic as possible. And for that high note, we have some bend information. It starts off with a little bit of variation. The amplitude sort of rises a little bit near the end of the note. I didn't want that note to be completely steady, because whenever you have steady notes, it makes MIDI guitar sound robotic. And that's why a lot of people's MIDI sounds robotic, is because they don't do the automation during long drawn out notes. So if I have a long drawn out note like this, I'll do a couple of points and I'll just kind of move them up and down just a little bit, just to kind of give it that sort of feeling like the note isn't robotic and like a perfectly tuned note. And sometimes you don't really want that. You can barely tell that it's there, but it's there. And then this last part is obviously going to be a sweep as well, but it's more of like this sounds like sort of like a Born of Osiris sweep. Using 4 strings right here. Those are the strings. And then you have that sort of octave harmony near the end. And then the very, very last note is like a slide down. So it's going from a higher note to a lower note on the same string, almost like a pinch slide. It's like, pew! I don't know how to explain it, but all I did there was the same thing I did earlier for the slide, where I just went down a couple of notes. So I gradually went down. So it sort of gives you that sort of slide down effect, and that's the last note of the solo. And then for automation during the sweepy parts, now I didn't know if you guys knew this, but you can automate the pickup switch on Axure. Usually the sweepy parts, I do an automation to the neck pickup, so you can see it switch right here. And then it goes back down. Have the same thing happening right here during these other sweeps. So that's another useful trick. So since I was using the dead notes for that sort of pick scrapey simulation there, I turned down the built-in pick attack just a little bit, just because I didn't want it to be overbearing during each note. So I turned those down for the sweeps. That's pretty much it. Okay, so now let's listen to the reamped lead, and then we'll listen to the original side by side. Okay, so that's the comparison between both of those. That's pretty much it for the mix, man. I think it turned out really, really well. Let me know what you guys think in a comment. Let me know if you think I nailed it or if I ruined it. That's going to be it for the rundown. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know a lot of you guys have been asking about deathcore and if Axure can do it, and it can. Hopefully I didn't ruin the song. I kind of just wanted to recreate it with MIDI and see how close I can get it to the original. Anyway, like I said in the beginning of the video, I'm holding a contest. This contest is going to be a MIDI contest. I want you guys to write a song with all MIDI. Drums, bass, guitar, everything. Even vocals. I know there's some programs out there that you can use MIDI to program AI vocals and all that stuff. If you want to use that, you can. It just has to be a VST instrument. So harmonicas, violins, kazoos, whatever. Any sort of VST instrument, you can use it. Bonus points if you use Axure. I'd love it if you guys stuck with like the metal rock genres, but if you create like a pop punk song or a country dubstep metal song, I don't know. I'm cool with that too. So you can either write a riff, a full song. It has to be at least 30 seconds to a minute long. This contest is going to take place on my Discord. I'll leave a link in the description for you. It's for Study Sound Audio. So all you have to do is be subscribed to this channel and also join the Discord. And I'm going to have a specific channel in there for the contest, and you can just submit your entry there. Over the next 2 weeks, we're going to have people voting on their favorite. I'm going to vote on my favorite as well. I encourage you guys to go in there and vote too. And at the end of the 2 weeks, we're going to pick a winner for the $100 Sweetwater gift card. I'm excited to hear what you guys create. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, subscribe, comment, do all that YouTube stuff. We'll see you in the next episode.